Hi, my name is Doug. I'm the president of Guardians of the Purple Heart, and we are a 501c3 approved nonprofit organization based here in southeastern Connecticut that specializes in obtaining items or services for Connecticut combat wounded veterans that aren't being met by other organizations like the VA. So what we like to think is where the VA or these other establishments have to leave off because of their corporate red tape and limitations, we can come in behind them and fulfill these needs by reaching out to the community, working with our vast network of supporters, and just coming together as a whole and supporting these Purple Heart recipients and improving their overall quality of life. A lot of people ask us how do they get involved and how do they join in on the fun with us. A lot of things you could do. Follow us on Facebook, #1, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website at gotph.org. You can send donations, send us a message. Spread the word of what we're doing. All the Connecticut Purple Heart recipients, we are out there trying to make a difference in their lives. So please give us a hand and join in on the fun.
Hey, this is Texas singer-songwriter Sergeant Scotty Frazier, proud to have served in the United States Marine Corps and now proud to serve with music. I am honored to be interviewed by and partner with Fubar Studio, the best in military and veteran supporting podcasts. Check them out, and thank you for your service for our American heroes. Also check out scottyfrazier.com for more of my music, and check us out on Spotify, Amazon, and where all good things are streaming. Semper Fi, rock and roll.
Bring your appetite down to Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit bigbellycafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit reedysarchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
This is what we train for, every day.
We just received new intel that there's an enemy presence at the airstrip compound.
All those years. When you're the first to arrive, it's not enough to be ready. You have to be relentless. It's our job to control the ground and the sky, wherever they may meet, even behind enemy lines. They call us one-man air traffic control towers, but we're more than that.
Ivy Lima Charlie, break. Airfield is stable. You are clear to land.
We turn hell into an airstrip. And clear the way for others to follow.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fubar Studios. Today we got a special guest with us. His name is JR, and he's with the Veteran Ranch. JR, I'm going to let you go and take it over. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much. Big howdy to all your fans out there. And, I am J.R. Smith, one of the three co-founders of the Veterans Ranch. It was also co-founded with my wife and my dad, who's a U.S. Navy Vietnam vet. So big hoo-yah to all my Navy guys out there. My wife and I are cowboy boots, never wore combat boots. But we just wanted to find a better way to help take care of veterans. And this goes all the way back to 2017. We were in business. We had a lot of veterans that we would always talk to, and we kind of kept hearing a consistent theme, and we call it "deny till you die." Here's another pill at the VA, or your other doctor. We're not picking on the VA, although we can. So, it just you would have thought equine therapy would have been the instant thought, because my wife and I are the horse people, but it wasn't. I was always taught to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. From about 14 to my mid 40s, a whole lot of legal pads went a whole lot of nowhere except this one, and we have the one page in a folder. We got to frame it because the ink's starting to fade after almost 8 years. I chicken scratched the word ranch on a brand new legal pad and had no idea what it meant. We're a faith-based organization, so we're doing a lot of paper to seal and praying, kind of going, hey, you going to explain this? Because we ain't getting it. Just call me noggin head. I don't know. It just didn't make sense at the time. So we're going to Bass Pro Shops one day, and because why not? It's Bass Pro Shops. And we stop at a Chili's for lunch, and one of our old grant writers called it a divine download. And that's where it all happened. I didn't have a pen, and the funny part is I've been in sales since I was 18, so I used to never leave the house without a pen. And my wife had the pen, she didn't have anything to write on. So a bunch of little Chili's napkins later, the good, the bad, the ugly ideas for the ranch were born. Called my attorney that Monday, and he didn't set up nonprofits, but he knew a lady that did. Her and I talked, and we traded out the work. I fixed her husband's 76 Corvette to make it run better, and she set up our nonprofit. I mean, when you're not pushing the rope uphill, you know it's right. And so by December 15th of 2017, we were a charity with one mission in mind, and that was to provide free equine therapy for our military community, so active duty as well as veterans, their immediate household family, Gold Star families, and first responders, and of course their immediate household family as well. So it was out of the pan and into the fire, folks. Let me tell you, we'd run businesses before, but we'd never run anything like this. So it's been fun for almost 8 years.
Oh, absolutely. I can just imagine that. And again, as you were saying, you haven't worn combat boots, but you wear boots. Cowboy boots. I wear both. I love both. I grew up with cowboy boots. Then I went to the combat boots, and I'm back to the cowboy boots. I probably got like 5 or 6 pairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Brother, we collect boots like women collect purses. I mean, it's just, you got to have your shit-kicking boots, your nice hanging out boots, your dress boots, yeah. Any excuse to buy another pair of boots, it's a good excuse.
Absolutely. That's like as you were saying, it's like the buying purses. Yeah, absolutely. I've got more boots in my closet than my wife has in purses or even in outfits. But I love them.
That's it. They're comfortable. They're great to work in. Yeah. And it's a good look.
Absolutely. So, JR, when you guys over at the Veteran Ranch, what options and things you guys are able to provide for the veterans?
We take this from a very holistic approach from grassroots all the way up. I'll give you a sports analogy. Vince Lombardi, would always walk into training camp in a locker room first day, and they just won the Super Bowl, and he'd say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." They just won the Super Bowl, but gentlemen, this is a football, right? So he always took it back to basics. We do the same thing. I don't care if you've been riding your whole life. You don't know our horses. We don't know you, and you're obviously working through something. So we literally start with a grooming brush and a hoof pick in your hand, right? Because a human's energy field is 5 to 7 feet. A horse is 15 to 30. It knows everything about you long before you even realize it's paying attention to you or you're paying attention to it. And so, you're putting your hands on that horse. It's learning about you. You're learning about it. And, you're building a bond of trust with an animal inherently born not to trust anyone because they're pack and prey animals. So, you're really tearing down walls. We've had men and women just go into tears off of just grooming a horse. Why? Because there was just something there that triggered that started releasing things, right? And then we take you from there up into what we call light liberty training. You'll start in an arena with a round pen. There's my 85-pound lapdog wanting some attention. You want to turn around and say hi to the camera, Chavez? Huh? But anyway, you'll lead rope and walk around with that horse, right? You still have control. But then we put you in a round pen, no halter, no lead rope, you, the training flag, and a horse. That's it. And so you really have to start building that bond of trust where you can walk shoulder to shoulder around a round pen, even turn and go the other way, and have that horse trust you enough to follow you. And then we work you all the way up into proper saddling, proper riding. From there, it's about balance and your core and how to really trust that horse. We'll even take you to the point of putting the reins on the horn, and we have somebody walking side by side with you at that point. But just trusting that horse to trust you, to trust, back and forth, where you can learn how to control things by your core and using your legs and being able to walk that horse around without having to yank on its head. So a whole lot of things, and we're actually developing a new program as we grow and expand right now. Our trainers actually developing the booklet for it and everything right now.
Nice. I mean, it's definitely a great opportunity, I'll tell you, for veterans is, riding horses and learning how to trust them, because then they're going to trust you, because they can sense the whole nervousness. That's what horses can do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up around horses 24/7, but I have family that have horses, so when we would go around, it would be like, okay, their sense that you're nervous, so then they pick it up. So then they get kind of nervous.
Yeah, we call them blood pumping mirrors. They reflect what you put out there, and I was the same way. I'm the country boy that grew up in the county. I'm from St. Louis originally, and so nothing about St. Louis County in the 80s screamed boots, buckle, and hat. So tried to wear them, be me, but kids being kids, you get made fun of because you don't live in that kind of area, and so the boots went away and the hat went away and everything else, and just became your normal 80s kid. But you're absolutely right. Every time we'd go out to central Missouri, my dad's family's out from around Salem and St. James, not too far from Fort Lost in the Woods. Yep. So for all our...
I used to live in Joplin.
Okay. Yep. You were on the other side of it, right? So for all our army fellas out there that you know what it's like to be at Fort Lost in the Woods, nothing's changed. It's still the same nothing town. It always was. But so I was always more comfortable out in the woods, family farms. You go horseback riding, and here were my riding lessons: kick to go, pull to stop, don't fall off. Hopefully, you know your way back because the horse does. Let's go. That was our riding lessons.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but we want to do it a little better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it sounds like it's a great opportunity for veterans to get a chance to do this. And you guys are still in Missouri, correct?
No, we're actually. So I ought to have gypsy tattooed on my body in at least 2 places. We've moved everywhere. So I'm from St. Louis. I moved to Florida in '99. Met my wife, got married in 2000. She's a native Floridian. I heard native Floridians were hard to come by, so I found one I liked and snatched her up. But she's the one that reminded me about horses because I got in the sales world. You're wearing suits and ties and you're doing what they're asking you to do. And she reminded me how much I missed it. And we'd go out on trail rides everywhere we could. When we could, we'd get on some horses. And because she had a pony when she was a kid and the whole 9 yards. So that's really what reminded me how much I missed being on and around horses. Because I used to go on Boy Scout trips and and all that kind of stuff. That was the only uniform I wore, Eagle Scout class of 1990. So, but so we started that here in Florida in 2017. We expanded into Texas in 2020, but COVID came around and just jacked that expansion plan up for a couple of years. And so now we are relocating our entire headquarters to North Texas. We're in the process of doing that right now.
Okay,
and
so you're still in Florida a little bit, but you're relocating everything into Texas.
Right, into Texas. Right, and we'll actually have 5 locations across the state in the next 5 years. And then we'll also backfill Florida. There's a friend of ours that has to put their property back up for sale because it's the only one we want.
Yeah. Where in Florida is it?
It's an area called Lakeland. If everybody that knows the I-4 corridor between Daytona and Tampa, Lakeland's a little better than halfway to Tampa. So it'll be easy for us to pull our community from in and around Polk County. Tampa, Orlando, anywhere that's about an hour and a half drive, we'll be able to pull people to the area pretty easily. But right now the Texas expansion is popping off faster. So, you go where the support and the money and everything is and just backfill later. I always say you want to hear God laugh, just tell him your plan and, he'll let you know what the real plan is eventually.
Yeah, and what I may have to do is hook you up with a music artist that's out there in Texas. I believe he's in northern Texas. His name is Scotty Frazier.
Okay.
So if you guys ever want to put on a concert or music stuff,
we're actually, do it please, because we are looking to do that. We were going to do one in 2023. It just didn't pan out the way we wanted to. We had to cancel it because we just couldn't sell enough tickets. But we have a couple country artists already, and I'll leave the big announcement, but let's just say we have a very well-known country music artist that's going to be the headliner when we do it again. We've got his contract sitting in our email. So, but yeah, we're looking at doing some big stuff. So that would be great to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's quite a few musicians I know. One are with some other record labels. You know, even Craig Morgan, who I've been working with and trying to get him onto the podcast and everything.
Yeah, so. love Craig. Love his music. Love that he actually re-enlisted into the reserves at the Grand Ole Opry. That's a special kind of dude right there.
Absolutely. He's one of the ones I've always looked up to and listened to when I was growing up. And then, you know, also follow him now and then knowing that he re-enlisted and he's a warrant officer in the reserve. So it's like, it absolutely hits home with me because I served in the United States Army. I did 9 years, 11 months, 28 days, but who's counting? You know, it's a phenomenal thing that what he's doing. And some of these other music artists that I know, from Chris Turner with Label 22 to Scotty Hastings with Black River Entertainment, to Caleb Montgomery, who I believe he's with Label 22, but he's out in California.
We'll forgive him for that.
But I guess he's out in the country. It's in the country.
There's a lot of great people in California. It's not all L.A. and San Francisco and that madness. Yeah. You know, I know a lot of good. But we have a Navy vet in Northern California that breeds and shows quarter horses, and he's donating 3 of them to us. There are some good folks in California. Yeah, so you just got to go to the right parts of the state to find them.
Correct. Absolutely. So yeah, I'll send you that information, and you know, you can always keep them in your back pocket or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
So you guys started. So there's 3 of you, which is your father, who is a Navy veteran, your wife, and then you. When was this really the veteran ranch? When was that thought of? Was it like a combined between you and your dad and your wife, or was that like something that your dad was thinking of and then said, hey, talk to you? It was like, hey, JR, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, numerous conversations, really. It was a blender mix of conversations. Like him and I'd have a chat, and then me and Pam would talk, and then sometimes, you know, we'd be having family dinner and we'd all be talking about it, and we just knew there had to be a better way. And once we got shown the vision of equine therapy, we thought, man, we're going to be like the 200th car in the lane here, and come to find out, we weren't. In the veteran space, first responder space, and all that, it was wide open, you know, because there's decades of data for special needs kids, autism, at-risk youth, doing equine therapy. There's tons of data. So we thought, okay, well, let's see where we can fit in. It turns out we were one of a few in a very big room of nobody. And still to this day, there have been some that have been added in the last 8 years, but not that many. So, and we want more. You know, I'll be the first to say we don't look at other nonprofits like CVS and Walgreens competing against each other across the street.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we can't save everybody. They can't save everybody. It's not about who gets the credit. It's about saving lives. So, you know, if you're right next door to me, I might have an issue with you, but, you know.
Yeah.
But, no, seriously, I kid. But, no, it's, so from 2017, about October of 2017 until we finalized everything in December of 17 is how all that got started. And then it was kind of like, well, what do we do from here? We didn't have a big ranch. We didn't have even one horse. And our association, even though it was very minor, they wouldn't let us put a horse in the backyard or a miniature horse or a pony.
Yeah.
So I had to rely on my networking skills to utilize our friends. That we had a lot of friends in Polk County. You got a lot of rodeo. You don't have to peel off too many layers of the onion in Central Florida to find cowboy. You know, you get past the theme parks and the beach towns and all that stuff. So we started utilizing our friends that had normal horses, right? Because you don't want a sketchy barrel horse with a sketchy vet. That's just not going to end well. So we started using their horses and their facilities, put on weekend events and things like that, do trail rides, whatever we could do to start getting our face in the place and start doing stuff, learning things from other people and implementing that. You know, if you're not learning, you're dead, so you may as well keep learning new stuff. So that's what we've been doing for the last probably 6.5, 7 years here in Florida. And like I said, we got 3 horses out in Texas right now. A veteran friend of ours, he's a ex-ranger and an actor as well. And during the writer's strike, it just, you know, it killed a lot of actors' work. You know, they're not writing it, they can't act it. So he called me up. They moved back to Frisco, Texas, and he said, I got 3 horses in Utah. You know, I don't really want to get rid of them, but if they go anywhere, I want them to go to you. Well, at the time, we didn't even have a horse trailer because we were using other people's stuff. So Veterans Day weekend 2023, we go get the horse trailer I'm sitting in right now. We go out to Texas that Monday. We're out there for about a week. We go out to Utah, get the horses, bring them back. We're working with them and some Gold Star families in Weatherford, Texas. And then we had to come back thinking, you know, we're just going to pack everything up and we're going to get right back out there. Well, again, you know, God had other ideas. Both my wife's parents took ill towards the end of last year. They were 90 and 86. Her dad was an Army veteran. And so, you know, we lost them. We had to take care of their final wishes, right? We're working on a really big grant right now that's going to help us put those 5 locations in the next 5 years. That's taken longer than anticipated. But, you know, it's funny, you know, you ask God for strength and guidance and patience, He's going to give you something to be strong and have guidance and patience about. And that's kind of where we are right now. So, but things are fixing to jump off the launching pad in a big way really fast.
Well, absolutely. It sounds like it. Again, it's like you have your plan, but truly, God has His plan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what's going to be reality?
Yeah.
And you got to just go with it.
Yep.
Because again, something like that, you can't just say, all right, well, I'm going to still do my thing.
Right.
Because it's not going to work.
Yeah. He'll let you
There's a
beat your
reason.
head. Yeah, He'll let you beat your head against a wall for a while until you realize it really is His way or the highway. And, you know.
Absolutely. And I grew up as a Southern Baptist because as you're talking, you know, Lakeland and all that, I grew up in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
I went to Mainland High School before I enlisted and everything. You know, I worked at Halifax Hospital and all that. So it was, I'm so used to Florida. And now I got family. I still got my brother down there in Deltona.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my wife's family who's in Punta Gorda.
Oh, okay.
And then I've got my old Baptist preacher, pastor. He is in, what is that, I-75. It's up towards, it's in, I think it's, what is it, Pinellas County?
Oh, Pinellas County? Okay, yeah.
I just can't remember the town. Well, technically the city. I say town because everything
Right.
up here in Massachusetts is town.
Exactly.
Unless you're in Boston.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
But,
Yeah, well, you might know the area then. My wife's originally from Lake Wales. So Central
Okay, yep.
on 27, yeah. So that's where she's originally from and her family moved to. So yeah, I get it. It just yeah, like I say, it's really cool stuff. I mean, the first property we plan on putting in Texas is going to be huge. I can't say where it is yet because, you know, I keep cards close to a chest, but it's going to be a lot of acreage. We're putting cabins on the property. The only people that can pay to stay there are from the community, you know, that we're serving. You can have, you know, like unit reunions. You know, that's the other great thing about Texas. You're in the middle of the country. right? It's easier to pull from Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, whatever, Colorado, New Mexico to Texas than it is somebody from Colorado to Florida.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good to be in the middle. But there will be a segment of the cabins that are going to be reserved for somebody in their family that needs to get back on their feet. Now, obviously, in today's day and age, you wish you didn't have to. You got to vet the heck out of them to make sure it's not a stolen valor situation or what have you. But they will be able to stay on property for up to a year on our nickel.
Yeah.
Get their. We've partnered up with some other veteran nonprofits that are going to help them with a modern day resume. When we were younger, we handed resumes to people. Now it's got to hit keywords, algorithms, and all that. So how to do a resume, how to do a good LinkedIn page. We've got other people that help you get your benefits squared away. Because you can't apply for your benefits if you're sleeping in your car. And just do everything to get them back on their feet. We're going to have a 3,000 square foot greenhouse to show you how to grow your own food with hydroponics and aquaponics. And have people from the community run it so they can learn how to be self-employed and run their own company. Learn how to do P&Ls and inventory and the whole 9 yards. So there's a lot of really big things on the horizon. It's actually going to have 40 horses on this property, because not only are we doing the free equine therapy, but people can come out and pay and do trail rides, riding lessons, those kind of things. So it's almost a dude ranch. It's almost a dude ranch for the military community, but not quite that far.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. And again, as you even state, there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that will do anything to try to scam this system and have that unfortunately stolen valor, or to say, hey, I was a Vietnam veteran during this time, but then they were never even a Vietnam veteran,
right?
And it's like, and it's not even just Vietnam. They've done it through World War II, they've done it through the Korean War, they've done it through the Afghanistan-Iraq War.
Mm-hmm.
Those times, it's absurd and crazy, but unfortunately, us as nonprofits, we have to do those checks to have the checks and balances, so that we're allowing and giving it to the correct individuals who deserve it.
Yeah.
Not to someone that really did not serve this country. And I'm not saying that civilians don't deserve certain things, but when it's made for veterans, it needs to be given to the veterans.
Yep, that's the
we owe it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we say we serve the ones that serve us all. We used to say served, but with active duty and everything, and first responders, we took off the past tense and keep it current tense. And because Gold Star families are serving every day, they gave the ultimate sacrifice of their loved one who gave their last full measure of devotion for their country. They're definitely serving every day.
Absolutely. And I talked to two different Gold Star family members on a weekly, if not monthly basis. They're always reaching out. One's Russ Courier. He lost his son in Afghanistan, and then the other one is Jacqueline. She lost her son when he came home. Ended up part of the 22 a day, and it's sad. It's very sad. And again, not to beat up the VA on some things, there was so many things that could be fixed to take care of these veterans, to give them the proper help.
Yeah.
And not delay things.
Well, that's the key. I just saw the newest numbers that came out with the newest budget bill that came out, and they're now a $500 billion a year organization. I understand there's a lot of things got to be paid for, a lot of salaries. Those hospitals aren't cheap. We've got the James A. Haley out in Tampa. That they just did a big upgrade on that place. But this deny. Basically not having doctors but lawyers in lab coats. That was one of the other things in the beginning. We just got so sick and tired of hearing, how much guts it took to go in and say, hey, I feel like hurting myself. I need to check myself in. And they say, no, you're not effed up enough. Go on home. And they off themselves in the truck in the parking lot. It's like, how much it took for them to have the guts and the balls to go in and say, hey, I'm telling you, I feel like hurting myself. And they say, no, go home. It just, so, because the 22 a day sadly is 44 to 60 because the government's cooking the books and leaving some categories out. One of the biggest ones is vehicular suicide. They don't wear a seatbelt. They, punch it and head for the nearest tree at 80 miles an hour. And they just go, oh, that was a vehicular fatality. No, oh, no, it wasn't. That was purposely done. And so, and even in the first responder world, those numbers are just as bad, if not worse. I had a friend of mine, he was a Polk County sheriff for 20 years. He said, I saw more under Grady Judd in 20 years in Polk County than I saw in 3 tours in Afghanistan. I mean, think about that. That's a lot. That's saying something. So, PTS goes far and wide. It's transferred to the kids and the family and the spouses and, what have you. And if you notice, I left the letter off there. We don't believe it's a damn disorder. The government calls it a disorder so they can give you benefit money. We feel it's an injury, something you walk through and now you got to learn how to deal with. My wife's got PTS, after numerous car accidents in her life. The last one, she got hit, she was turning onto an on-ramp and somebody ran a light at 45 miles an hour and hit her in the right rear of our F-350 and spun her around at 25 miles an hour. Now everything that's up on her on the right side, kind of startles her.
Which, again, you touched on the point with the PTS. It's, why do they need to add the D to it? I get it, they want to say, well, it's because of, so we give you benefits. But what about TBI?
Mm-hmm.
Why not call it TBID?
Right, yep.
They don't. They call it TBI.
Yeah.
Because, again, they're not labeling it as a disorder, but they shouldn't label PTS.
Exactly.
Disorder. It's the same thing as a TBI.
Yeah.
But, again...
Well, and you got emotional trauma, right? They hardly, I have to explain what that is to people on a regular basis, and I give them a perfect example. I said, it kind of becomes Call of Duty in real life. Somebody's sitting in a bunker in Colorado flying a drone, halfway around the world, dropping bombs on people. Yeah. It looks like a video game, but over time, that can wear on people. Yeah, absolutely. So that, and pilots get it, and I mean, your boots on the ground get it too. Anybody can get it, but that emotional trauma, they don't talk about it that much. They just try and label it all under PTS, and I guess, okay, you got PTS, but then you got this, you got TBIs, you got emotional trauma, we got to cover all the bases here to envelop everybody into what we say with horses. Is the horses allow you to lay down your heavy coats of burden and start walking off into an improved version of yourself. My dad said that years ago, and I quote him all the time on it. I love it because it's like in sales training. We would always tell salesmen, leave your personal baggage at the door. It'll be there when you get back. In this case, we want there to be a lot less baggage to pick up when you get back, to the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I get it, and it's a lot of stuff again that just needs to be worked out, and they need to be able to understand it and be able to take care of our veterans with all these different things. Because again, having that kind of dropping bombs and stuff like that through a drone and stuff, it's just like a pilot again. He's not seeing anything that you wouldn't see as a drone pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Drone pilots are going to see the same stuff.
Right.
And it just needs to, be covered and not have to be sitting here fighting about it.
Yeah. Well, because that's the sad thing, like the way you guys got to fight for your benefits. My dad's still at 20% tinnitus. You know, they denied, he had 4 detached retinas. He ran Marines upriver out of Da Nang running the dual 50s on the PBRs. They won't cover his carpal tunnel, you know, because I guess dual 50s must kick like a 22 or something, you know. By the time he was my age, I'm almost 53. By the time he was my age, he had 4 detached retinas, one down to the macula. Thank God they fixed them all, and his one eye is 20/40 and the other's still 20/20. But they won't cover that. You know, they keep denying all this stuff, saying it's not service connected. And this company that we're working with in Texas now, they're putting in all his information, but it's not one of these lawyers. They have lawyers fight on your behalf, but they're lawyers that used to be in JAG Corps. So they know how to fight this from a military perspective, not just being a good lawyer. And you know, they get some of your back pay and whatnot, but they're not charging you 30 grand up front on the if come maybe they get you something, right? So so we're gonna have him resubmit his stuff through them now, because with Vietnam veterans, Agent Orange and PTS are the 2 easiest things that they qualify for. They don't have to lay on a couch anymore and tell your bad dreams and all that stuff. They darn near just hand it to you. This company didn't even put it on the first go-round.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? You got a Vietnam veteran here. But yeah, they started him off at 10% tinnitus, and he goes, my ears aren't ringing, I'm freaking deaf. You know, they go, don't fight it. We don't have anything for deafness. You have tinnitus.
Yeah.
And so now he's at 20% tinnitus. You know, but we'll get him up there. But the sad part is the minute you guys raise your right hand and say, I'll go, send me, the government sets aside your money for your benefits.
Yeah.
You know, yet you got to fight like hell to get them when you get out. And the cynical part, and I hear this from a lot of veterans, it's sad, but it's probably true. My dad says it. They want you to die as fast as you can, because then they can take your money and go piss it away somewhere else on some other pet project. And if we don't think that happens, well, you just aren't paying close enough attention. You know, I mean, Trump's first term, we found out offices in Arizona were keeping files in desk drawers of guys that just needed knee and hip replacements that were dying from, you know, complications and issues, so their bonuses could stay good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's why I mean, I know I fought for mine, and it's taken me some time, because I started out at 10%, then I finally went to 20, then I went to 30, then I finally got to 50, and I'm like, crap. All right, it is what it is. You know, I was thinking at the beginning, I'm like, I'm just gonna stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got a friend of mine who has filed for PTS, and he's been fighting for almost 5 years, and they still have not granted it to him.
Yeah.
You know, he's submitted all the paperwork. He's submitted the paperwork for the what do you call it? The higher board.
Mm-hmm.
And then he submitted it where it goes to DC. The judge, it got assigned a judge and a lawyer in DC. The judge kicked it back to VA, saying you need to, you should have already made a decision on this. And now they're saying that they don't see any of this.
Yeah. Sounds like our chief technology officer. I got him this company's information, and I'll get it to you as well. Like I said, they're out of Texas. They're great folks, and they work with anybody and everybody. My chief technology officer's at 90%. He was 9.5 years in the Army, and the VA said he had PTS, but they wanted to go one more time and get an outside doctor. The outside doctor said, no, we don't see any PTS here. That's the answer they went with. The VA doctor said, yes, you definitely got it, but because an outside doctor said, no, we don't think you have it, now he's fighting for his last 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's jacked up.
That's how my friend is. His doctor, his psychotherapist doctor, at the beginning said, he has PTSD. And so the VA sent him to an outsource facility, and then they said, well, it's not related. Like, who are you to say that?
Yeah.
You know, he pisses his pants at night from the night terrors. You know, he's isolating himself. He has anxiety, depression, and all this other stuff. And it's like, who are you to say he doesn't have it? What background do you have that says you served or anything like this in a combat zone?
Yeah. That's how you said there. I had a vet tell me one time, we used to work a lot of gun shows up and down I-4, getting our word out and stuff like that. And a lot of the security guys were vets. And they said, you can't, from the minute you walk in, you can't tell the nice lady behind the check-in desk that you're having a nice day, because they're putting that in your jacket. So when you go tell the doctor all this crap that you're feeling, he goes, well, it says here in your jacket you're having a nice day and things are good outside. You know? I mean, he said there, and that's where I got the phrase from. He said they're lawyers in lab coats. You know? Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've met plenty of great people that want to do great things within the VA. But it's like any government-run organization, overfunded, overbloated, you know, and they're telling them what they can and can't do with a $500 billion a year budget. Yeah. It's just, I don't get it. I mean, you know, so that's, I mean, quite honestly, nonprofits like ours shouldn't even have to exist. The VA should take care of everybody, do everything. I've said it since I was a kid, that veterans and their immediate household family should get the best Cadillac health care on the planet, and everybody else can just figure it out. You know, get it through their job, pay for it, whatever. You know, give it free to the vets because they wore the frickin' uniform when none of it. 4 of my buddies went straight into the Corps in '91 when we graduated high school. You know, they tried to make me number 5, but I was in sales, and the day after I graduated high school, I got a $4,000 commission check. I told my buddies and my recruiter I had options. You know, they didn't feel they had any options. You know, and you know, it's funny, you reflect on those kind of things. It's like, had I gone in, you know, would I be doing what I'm doing today? Probably not. Would I be married to the person I'm married to now? Would I have my, you know, 21-year-old daughter? No, I wouldn't have any of those things. My life would have been completely different. So, you know, you just, again, that's that God plan thing, you know, but they all made it home. But, you know, that I learned things from the mid-90s sitting around having a beer with them that I didn't realize I would be using today, but I'm using today. Yeah. You know, and I asked them why they went in, and they felt they didn't really have any other options. They didn't want to just get a job. You know, they thought about the GI Bill. I'm like, boy, your recruiter sold you. He did a good job of selling you. And, but it was because Full Metal Jacket was the best Marine Corps recruiting movie since Top Gun for the Navy.
even though what took place with the gentleman in the bathroom,
right?
I mean,
they were.
It was realistic. It's
yeah,
the most realistic.
They were oorah gung ho, man. They were ready to go. But one of my buddies that I learned, and this is why we incorporate first responders, because 20% of your first responders across the country on average are veterans. They took off one uniform and put on another. My buddy was an MP. He couldn't wait to get out. You know, he's telling me all this. He said couldn't wait to get out, but then he got home, didn't know what the hell he was going to do with himself. Well, you already had to go to the police academy to be an MP, so he became a St. Louis County cop for about 20 years. He missed the structure, the daily routine, the brotherhood, sisterhood of uniform, you know, all those things. So he just became a cop. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we encompass first responders so much.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we just started doing about a year ago, is that we started to actually doing more with first responders, just because, again, you look at it and see what they go through here in the home front. It's nothing different than what we're going through as a military, minus we do it in a foreign country.
Right.
They do it home.
Yeah, I mean,
we may see a little bit other stuff, but they see
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that we deal with.
yeah, I mean, the fatalities in car accidents, young kids. I mean, right now we're praying hard for all the first responders in Kerrville, Texas. Not only the families that are going through all that grief and anguish, but can you imagine what it'd be like? You're just a cop. Maybe you didn't serve. Maybe you weren't a veteran. And you're border patrol. And all of a sudden you see a hand sticking out of the mud, and it's one of these 8-year-old girls from the camp. I mean, that's just going to screw with people's heads for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
And again, that's why we're here to support that. Support them through that.
Absolutely. And it's getting close to the end of the show. Definitely want to get you back here again, and get you some more going with this. But we definitely do appreciate you coming on this evening and getting the message out about you guys. And we'll get more into talking about as you guys are moving on to the into the North Texas and getting to know that stuff, and probably bring you on right before your the concert and all that you have that music artist that you have sitting in your back pocket. As you would say, sitting close to you just like a chessboard.
Yep.
Before we finish up, I know there's one thing that I know that Vince Lombardi, it's crazy that you quote him. Vince Lombardi was always quoted to me when I played football.
Mm-hmm.
It was winning's not everything, but it is what was it? Winning's not everything. It's the only thing. Yeah, it's winning's not everything, but it's the only thing. Is what my coach used to say when we would go and play football. He'd always be like, "Yes, this is what this was." And there was another one that was like, reaching for excellence. You may only reach to the stars.
Well, and another one we use is leave it all out on the field. Give it all you got and the hell with it. Win or lose, give it all you got and the hell with it. You gave it everything you had, and that's how we are every day. Start every day anew. Give it hell. Give it all you got. Leave it on the field. Good day, bad day. Next day's a new day. And I played a lot of high school football. Won some state championships. So we got quoted that stuff a lot. That's where I take that from those days and use that. Love our boys of fall. Love the boys of fall.
Absolutely. The other thing that I leave with all the guests and all the viewers this evening is, the one quote that is by an unknown author is that either that you're National Guard, reservist, or active duty, you are a veteran. It doesn't matter how you serve or whatnot. You're still a veteran. So, with that being said, everybody, I salute you all. Appreciate you guys' services and everything, and everybody that serves. May not serve in a certain uniform, but you are serving in your own way. That's doing these nonprofits and whatever else volunteering you guys do. So thank you, and everybody have a good evening, and God bless America.
Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah. Shut up.
You suck.
Stop. In the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the Fubar Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at fubarstudio.com. Fubar Studios is a Sinista1 Production.